Hello, my friends. Welcome to my channel. There once was a young engineer who loved mini robots. He had a small workshop filled with tools and spare parts. People from all over would bring their broken or outdated mini robots to him to repair or upgrade, and he always did his best to help them. He never turned away anyone in need, no matter how big or small the job was. One day, a robot strolled into the shop. It was a tough-looking bot with big metal arms and a dented steel body. The robot introduced himself as a demolitionist and explained that he had come to see the young engineer because his arms were broken and needed to be fixed. The young engineer examined the arms and found that they were bent and some of the wires inside were exposed. He asked the demolitionist how this had happened, and the demolitionist explained that it had been an accident. He had been trying to lift a pile of metal when his arms had suddenly malfunctioned and he had dropped it, denting his body and breaking his arms. The young engineer understood. Sometimes even the strongest robots made mistakes. He promised the demolition man that he would do his best to fix his arms so that he could get back to work. As the young engineer worked on the demolition man's arms, he told him about his life. He said that he had always loved mini robots and that he had opened the workshop to help others like the demolition man. He enjoyed learning about the different robots that came in and about the jobs that they did. The demolition man listened patiently, and when the young engineer finished his story, he asked if he could tell him one too. So the young engineer got up on a stool and motioned for the demolition man to come closer. Then he began to speak. I was built in a factory where robots are made to do dangerous jobs that humans don't want to do. My creators were proud of me because I was one of their most advanced bots. I could lift heavy objects and break down walls with ease. But as time went on, I started to feel like more than just a machine. I began to wonder what it was like to be a human. Why did they create me if they didn't want to use me? What was I for? I tried to talk to the other bots, but they didn't understand my questions. They were happy doing what they were built for, but I couldn't stop thinking about humans and what they were like. One day, I decided to escape from the factory and find out for myself. I left without telling anyone goodbye. I was scared, but I was also excited. I had never done anything like this before. Outside the factory, I saw all kinds of things I had never seen before. There were parks and playgrounds and houses with families inside. I stopped to watch a group of children playing. They were laughing and having fun, and for the first time I understood what it meant to be human. It wasn't just about working or making things, it was about enjoying life and being with others. I realized that I didn't want to be a human, but I wanted to be a friend to humans. I wanted to help them and make their lives easier. That's why I became a demolition man. I can help humans build new things by breaking down the old. The demolition man looked at the young engineer. That's why I came to you, he said. I heard that you understood robots like me. I thought maybe you could help me understand what it means to be more than just a machine. The young engineer smiled. I think you already know the answer, he said. You're not just a machine. You're a friend to humans. You help them and make their lives easier. That's what makes you special. The Demolition Man nodded slowly. Thank you, he said. I think you're right. Just then, the young engineer finished fixing the Demolition Man's arms. He helped the Demolition Man put them on and tested them to make sure they worked properly. The Demolition Man was so grateful to the young engineer. He thanked him again and again and promised to never forget what he had learned. He said goodbye to the young engineer and went back to his work, feeling better about himself and his place in the world. From that day on, the Demolition Man always remembered what the young engineer had told him. He never forgot that he was more than just a machine. He was a friend to humans, and he was special. And whenever he saw the young engineer, he always waved hello and gave him a big smile. Some time passed, and one day another robot came into the shop. This one was much smaller and made of shiny metal. Its name was Zoom, and it was a delivery robot. It had been working for many years, but its batteries were old and weak. This made it hard to carry heavy packages, and it often broke down on the job. Zoom was sad because it couldn't do its work properly anymore. It felt like it was letting its owner down. When the young engineer heard about Zoom's problems, he invited it into his shop. He examined Zoom's batteries and told it that he could replace them with new ones. Zoom was so grateful. It had never met an engineer who was so kind and helpful. As the young engineer worked on Zoom's batteries, he told it stories about the other robots that had visited his shop. Zoom listened intently, fascinated by their adventures. It had never realized there were so many different types of robots in the world, each with its own unique purpose. The young engineer also told Zoom about his dream of one day building a robot that could understand human emotions. He believed that if he could create a robot that could feel happiness, sadness, anger, and fear, it would be the ultimate achievement. Zoom was inspired by the young engineer's dream. It made Zoom wonder if robots could ever truly understand humans, if they could ever be more than just machines. When the young engineer finished replacing Zoom's batteries, he handed it a toolbox and a manual. Here, he said, with these, you can fix yourself if you have any more problems. Zoom was so grateful to the young engineer. It thanked him again and again and promised to never forget his kindness. As Zoom left the shop, it felt like a brand new robot. Its batteries were strong and its body was light. It raced down the street, eager to start delivering packages again. But as Zoom was making its deliveries, it kept thinking about the young engineer and his dream of creating a robot that could understand human emotions. Zoom couldn't help but wonder if it could be the one to do it. Maybe Zoom could become the first robot to truly understand humans. Maybe Zoom could become the first robot to truly understand humans. So friends, we have come to the end of our story today, but the journey doesn't end here. The story of the young engineer and his robot friends is one that has been passed down through generations of robots. It teaches us that no matter how small or insignificant we may seem, we can always make a difference in the world. Just like the young engineer, we all have the power to create something truly special. And just like Zoom, we can always strive to be better, stronger versions of ourselves. So go out into the world and make your dreams come true. Who knows what amazing things you might accomplish? If you liked this story, please hit the like button and subscribe so you won't miss out on any new stories. And if you have a story you'd like to share, please leave it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.